Good morning. The Cochran firm of the Mid-South has been retained to represent two minor children of Lamaris Robinson, who was shot and killed on October 16, 2019. I'm Howard Manis, the managing partner of the firm. To be clear, Lamaris Robinson had his share of ups and downs in his life, and after his release from prison a few weeks ago, he moved back into the home of Latrice Greer and the two children they shared. From what our investigation has gathered, immediately prior to being shot, Lamaris was running away from the establishment with his back to Charles Kalb when he was shot in the back with at least one blast from Kalb's illegal sawed-off shotgun. The family is pleased that Kalb was charged with first-degree murder and appreciates all of the hard work, time, and effort associated with the investigation performed by the Memphis Police Department. As part of our representation of his children, we will be diligent in staying on top of prosecutors to ensure that Kalb's prosecution is vigorous and the family is heard. Regardless of how people may feel about an individual who is allegedly stealing from an establishment, the employees or owner of that establishment have no right to kill an individual, particularly when there is no threat of physical harm present. My job is to ensure that justice is done for Lamaris Robinson and his children. We will seek all civil remedies at our disposal in an effort to provide for the children that Lamaris had with Ms. Greer. It is imperative that we work with our governmental officials and political leaders to ensure that people like Lamaris have a manageable and meaningful path forward to reenter society. For many of those leaving prison and coming back to a regular life, they are met with roadblocks and difficulties at every turn. If we do not work to help former inmates acclimate, we will just continue the revolving door from prison to life and back to prison. Nobody wins in that scenario, especially not small children who will now grow up without a father. I will take a few brief questions, but understand, and I appreciate you knowing that based on the status of our investigation, we will be limited in what we can and cannot talk about.
In court on Friday, which started out as an arraignment hearing, turned into a bond hearing for Mr. Kalb, the attorney representing him said something along the lines that Mr. Kalb was in fear of his life, which led him to pulling what's been alleged as an illegal firearm on Mr. Robinson. Has there been anything in your investigation to lead you to believe that there was a confrontation? Are there any words exchanged between the suspect here and the victim?
Our investigation is ongoing, but what I will say is that Mr. Messler is a good lawyer and he is doing what he has to do to set the table to make an argument that he needs to make to keep his client from spending the rest of his life in jail. So I'm not going to provide any more credence to what Mr. Messler may have said in court. As what you know, lawyers' comments are not evidence. I'm not aware of anything that supports that. And based on the charges that were filed by the Memphis Police Department, that evidence, I suspect, does not exist.
I kind of wanted to know you all's thoughts about the bond set for Mr. Kalb. Do you all think that's something that's reasonable with the charges?
Well, what I'll say about the bond is that's the discretion of the judge. There are a lot of factors that the judge takes into consideration. It is an offense that you can order no bond. Whether the judge's bond was appropriate, I'll leave that up to the discretion of the Court of Appeals. I don't think it's something that the family needs to get in the middle of. That's the criminal matter, and this is the civil matter. We will monitor the criminal matter. We will protect our client's interest in the criminal matter, but that's for the district attorney's office to prosecute.
You began your statement addressing the ups and downs that Mr. Robinson had and then addressed it again later on. Is that a concern for you or the family? How important is the perception going forward with that?
I really can't comment about his background. Obviously, it is what it is, okay? But the bottom line of this case is that Mr. Robinson was shot in the back fleeing a scene. The law is clear in the state of Tennessee. Okay, this is not about Mr. Robinson. This is about Mr. Kalb. And we will make sure that our case is about Mr. Kalb.
Is this a situation that you all feel like Mr. Kalb took matters in his own hands?
I think the results speak for themselves as to what Mr. Kalb did.
Can you talk about his two young children that he has, the ages, anything about them?
They're 3 and 4, both little boys, obviously devastated.
Obviously, a really emotional time. Is there anybody with the family that would just like to share their memories of Mr. Robinson and kind of what they hope for moving forward?
At this point, we're going to limit the conversation to what we have about the family. Obviously, the family is here in support of Ms. Greer and her 2 children. They are grieving. They are rightfully distraught and upset, and I think that's consistent across the board.
You were mentioning all legal remedies you're going after. Are you waiting for the criminal trial to go forward before you consider civil potentially, or where does it stand?
I doubt we'll wait that long. I have intimate familiarity with the criminal prosecutions here in Shelby County based on my background in serving in capacity as a criminal defense lawyer both in state and federal court. I know that a charge like this can take years to get through the system. Tennessee has a 1-year statute of limitations with regards to certain types of claims, but I doubt very seriously we'll be waiting very long to pursue the claims on behalf of the family.
And obviously, like you were saying, Tennessee, it's pretty clear in Tennessee what you can and can't do in terms of, if you want to kind of talk about that and how that can be part of the civil.
Well, I don't want to comment on the law. That's for a judge to do. But the bottom line is, if you're not faced with lethal force, you can't use lethal force. And our investigation is yet to reveal anything that even remotely reaches that lethal force was an appropriate solution to whatever problems existed out there on that day.
Beyond living with Ms. Greer and his 2 children, what else was he doing here in Memphis after his release? Was he working to find a job?
At this point, we're still investigating a lot about the case. I'm not prepared to comment on that, but I do think it's important to note that my comments at the end are important as it relates to the sub-issues of this case. When individuals are imprisoned, for whatever reason, I think we as a society need to do a better job to prepare them to acclimate back into society. It's hard enough out there, but when you come out of prison after an extended stay, it's that much harder. And we as a society need to step forward and force our politicians and our leaders to evaluate whether or not we're doing an effective job helping all individuals to get back on their feet and to become productive citizens. That's not an excuse. It's not a commentary specifically on Mr. Robinson, but that is something that I've been doing now this for 25 years, and it's not gotten any better.
As you mentioned that transition from prison, can you tell us how long you'd been away?
It had been an extended period of incarceration. I'm waiting for documents to get the exact number of days. I'd hate to comment until I have them, but it was an extended period of time. I appreciate everyone coming today, and we at the Cochran Firm look forward to prosecuting this claim on behalf of Ms. Greer and her 2 children to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you.